Hi guys, welcome to The Code Presents. I'm Belle and I work at StoryLab, and I'm also an ex-Globaler from Global Academy. And today we're going to be speaking about radical collaboration and COP26 with my two lovely guests. I'll give it to you first, Vanessa.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa. I'm 15 years old and I'm a motivational speaker, talk show host and presenter. I do a lot of other things, but I'm very excited to be here and talk about this brilliant topic.
Well, hello, I'm Hamish Nicklin. I'm 46 and completely in awe of the list of things that you've just said that you do already. I'm the chief exec of Dentsu Media here in the UK, which means I look after our media brands of Cara, Dentsu X, iProspect, etc. And I'm thrilled to be here chatting about COP26 and radical collaboration.
Amazing. So do you want to just jump right into it with the first question I have for both of you? I think that's going to be, so what does radical collaboration mean to you and how does it come to life?
Well, look, the first time I heard the term radical collaboration, as a Brit, I think it made me feel a little bit queasy because I just thought it was another one of those, collaboration is one of those words that I didn't feel needed an adjective. You just collaborate. It's a bit like you can't be very pregnant. And I just thought it was one of those things that my American colleagues had got a bit carried away with, sort of like, hyperbole, and it was practically tautology. But I just thought, actually, the more I've thought about the concept of radical collaboration, the more I actually really love the phrase. Because I think it is so much more than just collaboration on steroids. It is like a philosophy that you have to bring when you think about collaboration if you're going to really do it properly. And I think that what it means is you have to come and think very differently about how you collaborate, right? You have to come with absolute generosity of your time and your resource. You have to give without any hope or expectation of necessarily getting something back for you, but you have to do it entering into it, knowing that the reason you're collaborating and taking part and offering your services and skills and support is because you want to achieve the thing that is the objective and the greater good. And that's a fundamental sort of mindset shift for a lot of people who come into collaboration, because they just sort of appear, turn up and go, well, I'll give you things and see what happens. No, you have to give yourself, and you have to be totally open to, being asked for all sorts of things in order to achieve something bigger. And that's what I think, spend a lot of time at Dentsu trying to create that culture of radical collaboration. There are things that we can do around processes, of course, like breaking down walls, literally breaking down walls, and bringing people into the same buildings, for instance, and making them all part of one team and process. But ultimately, it has to have that sort of philosophy and that culture of wanting to collaborate in a radical way, if you like. And that has to start from the top. So Wendy has been very clear as the Dentsu International CEO that that's how we want to behave. And my peers and I on our leadership team in the UK, we feel exactly the same. And so, we have to be seen and have to collaborate in a very open fashion in order for us to be able to live and breathe the concept of radical collaboration. I think we're seeing, great changes and strives in that direction. So that's what it means to me.
That was amazing. And
I don't know how to continue after that, really.
I feel educated.
I know, right? That was so insightful. Honestly, just agreeing with you, and just to add on, I feel like collaboration is a lot about including everyone in the conversation, not just that kind of idea of tokenism and just adding everyone in just for the sake of it. And it's more so being willing to have everyone's ideas included rather than just having it there for the sake of it. So honestly, I'm just in awe of you now.
Oh no, don't be silly. I think you're absolutely right. You have to, when people come, they can't just be sort of a token person around the table to say, what's your view? We've got to have some people from that team and that team and that team. You have to be open to listening to everybody's perspectives in that room and that moment of collaboration. It can't just be someone there. It's like, oh well, we're gonna pretend to collaborate, so let's just invite those people. They've got to be in the room and a fundamental part of it. So you're absolutely right. I love that notion of everybody being totally open to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess my kind of little question for you, which is a bit off track, but would you be able to give like an example of like how radical collaboration has come to life for you, I guess, working at Dentsu and you as like an influencer, change maker? Like how has it come to life for you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you run a business, you often, the thing you're given is a set of numbers to achieve. And what historically has prevented collaboration is you saying, well, I'm going to hit those numbers first and foremost before I do about anything else. And actually what we've noticed a number of times this year is that if you have that mindset, and that's why I said about you have to be completely generous to give without any hope or expectation of return. If you have that mindset of, I'm going to look after my little world first before I collaborate, you'll never radically collaborate. It'll be that sort of token, I'll give you a little bit of something. And so, there are examples of where we've done this quite a lot, where we've put the Dentsu proposition and the ability to offer a wider Dentsu solution to a client ahead of what would potentially be better just for my team's numbers. And so some brilliant work has come out of this with, Kraft Heinz, right? We did, it's a Kraft Heinz is a media client. We did a lot of work with them. But through some radical collaboration and the realization that there's an opportunity to introduce them to Dentsu McGarry Bowen, we've won some Heinz Beans work, and the creative is utterly fabulous. It's brilliant creative work, and it's been good for the whole of Dentsu. But actually, it might have been better for my team to focus on just sort of trying to push the media agenda. But actually, it wasn't. It was better for Dentsu to push the Dentsu McGarry Bowen agenda in this instance. And more importantly than any of that, whether it's benefit for us or Dentsu, it's the right thing for the client. So in this instance, the concept of radical collaboration has led to wonderful returns and success for both the client and for us. So that's when it really works, and that's why you've got to do it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's kind of like prioritizing the idea of collaboration rather than what's best for it in general, exactly. As what you were saying before. I feel like radical collaboration in kind of what I do, I guess, is, let's say I've been approached to do a speech or a presentation for something, and it's kind of having that balance of what I would feel comfortable speaking about and also what the event organizer wants to do, because at the end of the day, you are going to be working together and you want it to be as best as it can be and have that message land and have that kind of event flourish as you want it to be. So I think it's a lot about hearing each other's viewpoints and finding that balance between those.
Yeah, definitely. I think they were both, again, great answers, and it was really interesting to hear like how you showed Dentsu as an example, because I know some of the stuff we've done with Kraft Heinz, we do it with StoryLab, and StoryLab's one of the big kind of radical collaboration companies, and Dentsu being about partnerships. So it was really interesting to hear about that.
That's so true. I mean, StoryLab couldn't exist without radical collaboration. Honestly. Between media partners, all the different agencies that provide clients, your existing clients. No, you're absolutely right. It's a classic example of it working at best, isn't it?
I think it's like the perfect example for how radical collaboration can really impact a company and change the way people see things and change the way, companies work.
Yeah.
I guess my next question to you is, how do you guys view partnerships and how do you make sure they're authentic?
Oh, well, thank you. I'll take the floor first. I'm quite fortunate to have people approach me for partnerships, but I think it's a lot about making sure that it is as authentic as it is. So if I get approached for a brand partnership and the brand doesn't align with what I do, then I'm just doing a misfavor towards my audience and myself as well, because it's going against my kind of moral compass, I guess you could say. So if something doesn't align with you, then just because it's going to get you a lot of publicity or it's going to kind of make you feel proud of yourself or I guess boost your ego in a sense, it's more important to have that kind of level of, okay, this is brilliant, but does it really align with who I am? And is that really going to take myself to the next level rather than just the career or the bigger picture, the bigger idea? So if I am approaching somebody for a partnership, I think it's always kind of that good equal placement of being friendly and also not belittling yourself, which is a big thing. It's like, oh, I know I'm not as big as a lot of other people, but could you possibly, just already saying that, you're already putting doubt in their minds. So you need to be going into a conversation or contacting somebody knowing your worth and knowing that you are the right person to take this brand to the next level. So I think it's a lot about having that kind of courage to do so and carrying yourself in a certain way. Yeah,
I really love what you said there, because especially about like knowing your worth. I think especially because you're an influencer, you've got to know your worth. You've got to know, I'm here and I have this many followers, and I think that was really important. I think when you apply that to companies as well, making sure companies know their worth and know their clients' worth, and how and again, it leads back to your McGarry Bowen story of just like how you knew your client's worth was good enough to collaborate in that way. But same question for you, I guess. How do you approach partnerships?
It's almost my turn to say back to you now this time. I've got nothing more to add. You answered it so perfectly. That's because I could swap out, your examples for brand examples, and it's exactly the same principle. You've got to look at the values of the brands. You've got to look at the values of the two brands that potentially could partner and say, is there genuine overlap? Or are we trying to force something there that could never work? Before coming here, I was the Chief Revenue Officer at The Guardian for 4 years. And as you can imagine, a lot of people came to us because the values of The Guardian are so strong, certainly in areas like the climate, etc. And people coming to us all the time saying, can we do this partnership with you? And it'd be just like, no, because that would not work. The values of this organization and the values of yours, they're not aligned. And it would just look terrible for both of us, because the reality is consumers, viewers, normal human beings watching the unfolding of the content that came from that collaboration would sniff out just how disingenuous and how not real it was. And so it just wouldn't work for the purpose of doing the thing in the first place. So, you've just got to make sure that the values of the organizations are aligned before you think about the partnership. And then you say, okay, how can we creatively make that work? But you've got to start with that, which is exactly what you do. So,
Yeah, and I love what you said about the no, because I think there's a phrase that says no is a full sentence. And it's kind of that if somebody approaches you, you have to know to say no, because if you don't believe it's right for you and it's not the right time or the right thing, then you just have to find a way to put things down. And I guess we always kind of worry about pleasing everyone, that we need to also focus on ourselves and make sure, is this actually going to take me to the next level, instead of just having your face everywhere, instead of having it on one face that's going to make the furthest reach, in a sense.
You don't want to sell out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Has that been hard for you as an influencer to sometimes say no to maybe brands that don't align with you, or even if it's a brand that you really love but it doesn't necessarily align with what you do or your values? Has that been hard?
I don't even think it's in terms of social media. It's more like speaking engagements, more so. When I first began doing speaking, I went to so many different events, so many, and it was kind of like you spread your name by people knowing your face and just having a few moments to speak up on stage. But then at some point, it's like, do people just want to use you because they think your message is actually good? Or are they using you because they know that people are going to want to go to their event just because you're going to be there? So it's really trying to find that awareness, I guess you can say, of, is this person actually genuine? Do they really want me just because they believe my message is right and they believe I'm the right person to share this message on their stage? Or is it just because it's going to bring in people, it's going to bring in crowds?
And the powerful thing about that is the more that you say no because you don't think it's authentic, you don't think they're genuine, the more the value of what you have will be seen. And so that's why that's fabulous. Keep doing that.
Thank you.
Your answers are amazing. I'm just completely in awe right now of both of you. So that is actually the end of our episode on radical collaboration. Thanks so much, guys, for watching part 1. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2, and make sure you like and subscribe to The Code Presents.